Well, here I am. It's the 16th week of the war. It's been a lot of losses so far, including along the Finnish border, where Operation Silver Fox has continued to push to the Severe River. Not that that really matters, because the city of Leningrad has fallen to German hands, along with another city that we will get to in a moment. But taking a glance across the lines, in Crimea, he's moving towards Kerch. The two divisions that he attacked, I'm going to leave as a screening front, just to try to hopefully get one more week to move more units in place. In Rostov, there's a tiny bit of combat, not much. Slightly northward, he crosses the river at two locations, putting the bulk of my lines at risk due to the fact that I have no defensive terrain beyond the river. He's either doing that or pushing towards Stalingrad, but I don't really see him stretching that far northeastward before winter. Once again, in the area of Voronezh, his battle plan has surprised me. He's gone straight for the city itself, pushed through it, series of about 7-8 battles. He's moved a motorized brigade behind my infantry lines, where I expected the brunt of the attack to come from. So now they're at risk of being isolated. The rest of this area to the north and south, he just moves his infantry up along my lines, applying pressure, forcing the normal attrition that happens week to week when you're one hex apart from each other. And around the city of Tula sees heavy combat. He does not attack the city of itself yet, so I'm expecting that next week. Other than that, the rest of the entire line stays pretty much as is. And as I said earlier, Leningrad does fall. But all that gets my October 5th turn looking like this. I'm happy with where things stand. Voronezh still worries me. He outnumbers me in that region. So if the weather goes his way, he will be able to take Tambov in the next 4 or 5 turns. Looking at the order of battle, while it looks okay that I have 300,000 men in both the western and the central fronts, their priority is Tula to Moscow. Unless I get more men in the Leningrad front, the Tambov area is going to continue to be a weak point in my lines. In the skies, I'm happy with how the Air Force looks in the first week of October. I'm fairly spread out across the various air groups, but looking at this screen, I do notice that several fronts do not have their air groups on the map yet. Taking that into account, plus with the fact that my reserve front is finally filling up its squadrons with airplanes, I'm also happy to see that my pilots are starting to increase in experience a little bit. What I'm also learning is that I have AOGs that are invisible to me. I was unaware that I had further options to bolster my air force. There's a lot to the air campaign that I've been neglecting. Bringing a new recon area down here, I did not know that the Fleet Air Command does not come with a recon group, so I keep it where it is. I also start toying with which level cameras to give it, and also the altitude. So I'm kind of bringing a war in the Pacific mind state to it, but I'm hoping that going a little higher will reduce the casualties. With this knowledge on how many air wings are out there that I haven't utilized yet, I moved 62 BAD over to the Bryansk, thus finally forming it. Starting to realize that what I'm most hindered by is I don't have enough manned airfields or supplied airfields, I guess is the better way to word it, to even bring all my planes from the reserves onto the map. So even though I spent the better part of an hour taking a deep dive throughout my air force, my missions this week are pretty limited. The only question I'm having is with the naval patrol, you get a lot of options, mines, torpedoes, and I tried digging in, trying to figure out what the differences are. I'm still not 100% sure, but I went with mines. It sounded more fun. Moving into the ground phase, it's a continual retreat towards Stalingrad. This allows me some more units up further to the north. I'm trying to figure out a plan for next week. I have a nice mechanized division here with the 107th mechanized with strength of 9. So if I'm able to figure somewhere to utilize that, but it's going to be difficult. I'm either going to have to switch from this army to another one, just because this one's pretty weak. The 12th Army finishes up the line towards Bogachar, crossing up to the northern side of the Don River. This allows me the freedom to attempt an attack on a German mechanized unit. And it's also me recognizing that I'm abandoning a railroad line. I don't have control over either end of it, but this falling into his hands is going to help his supply situation. But my first planned battle for this week is I'm going to be crossing the river to do it. This is south of Araneza, but I'm bringing a tank division and 2 rifle divisions. Mistakenly, I have another cavalry division from a different army group, which does get a rather large penalty for that. But I am still able to bring 3-to-1 odds, 15-3 against 4.7 estimated CV defense. And as you see, I get the negative 33% to the 5th Cavalry Corps. But still, sadly, my 68 estimated value, my die roll gives me 16, so his forces hold. So I decided to go in a second time, this time without the negative 33%. I get a 31 to his 37, so he once again holds the ground. And we're sitting with a combat delay of 6. But it is north of Vernezza where I'm the most frustrated. So these 2 infantry divisions are cut off. I have a very weak mechanized staring me in the face, and I have a very strong mechanized division on my own. So I move the headquarters up into range. I move the 2 divisions in tandem. I get a 11-2 basically advantage, and I'm attempting to free up the 2 divisions that are cut off, and then the battle happens. So ignoring all that frustration, staring at the beginning of my turn across the entire lines, this is what I was looking at. I proceeded to retreat into a manner like thus giving me hopefully a better position next week, and hopefully a little bit better luck whenever I do find some avenues to fight some battles.